गिरिवरधारे जय गिरिवरधारे गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारे जय गिरिवर यशोदनंदन भज जन रंजना यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम राम जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ यशोदनंदन भजन यमुना तीरा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Bhaja Janarandana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yashodanandana Bhaja Janarandana Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari Gandharvika Giridhari Gandharvika Giridhari Gaura Hare Gandharvika Giridhari Gaura Hare Jaya Nitai Gaur-sundar Jaya Nitai Gaur-sundar Nitai Gaur-sundar Jaya Nitai Gaur-sundar Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Srila Prabhupada योग धर्म हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी Reading from Canto 4, chapter number 29, titled Talks Between Narada and King Prachina Barhi, verse number 82. Tatraikagramanadhiro Govinda Charanambujam Vimukta Sango Anubhajan Bhaktya Tat Samyatamagat Tatraikagramanadhiro Govinda Charanambujam Vimukta Sango Nubhajan Bhaktya Tat Samyatamagat Tatraikagramanadhiro Govinda Charanambujam Vimukta Sango Nubhajan Bhaktya Tat Samyatamagat. तत्रैकाग्रमनाधीरो गोविन्दचरणाम्बुजम् विमुक्तसङ्गो नुभजन् भक्त्या तत्साम्यतामगात् तत्रैकाग्रमनाधीरो गोविन्दचरणाम्बुजम् विमुक्तसङ्गो अनुभजन् भक्त्या तत्साम्यतामगात् मनाधीरो गोविन्दचरणाम्बुजम् विमुक्तसङ्गो अनुभजन् भक्त्या तत्साम्यतामगात् तत्रैकाग्रमनाधीरो गोविन्दचरणाम्बुजम् विमुक्तसङ्गो अनुभजन् भक्त्या तत्साम्यतामगात्. What word meanings? Tatra, there. Ek agra manaha, with full attention. Dhiraha, sober. Govinda, of Krishna. Charana ambujam, unto the lotus feet. Vimukta, freed from. Sangaha, material association. Anubhajan, continuously engaging in devotional service. Bhaktya, by pure devotion. Tat, with the Lord. Samyatam, qualitative equality. Agat, achieved. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Having undergone austerities and penance at Kapilashrama, King Prachina Barhi attained full liberation from all material designations. He constantly engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord and attained a spiritual position qualitatively equal to that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. There is a special significance in the words Tat Samyatam Agat. The king attained the position of possessing the same status or the same form as that of the Lord. This definitely proves that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always a person. In his impersonal feature, he is the rays of his transcendental body. When a living entity attains spiritual perfection, he also attains the same type of body, known as Satchid Anand Vigraha. The spiritual body never mixes with the material elements. Although in conditional life, the living entity is surrounded by the material elements, earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence and ego, he always remains aloof from them. In other words, the living entity can be liberated from the material condition at any moment, provided he wishes to do so. The material environment is called Maya. According to Krishna, Devi hi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. This divine energy of mind, consisting the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, shloka number 14. As soon as the living entity engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he immediately attains freedom from all material conditions. Sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. In the material state, the living entity is on the Jiva Bhuta platform, but when he renders devotional service to the Lord, he is elevated to Brahma Bhuta platform. On the Brahma Bhuta platform, the living entity is liberated from material bondage and he engages in the service of the Lord. In this verse, the word dhira is sometimes read as Veera. Actually, there is not very much difference. The word Dhira means sober and the word Veera means hero. One who is struggling against Maya is a hero, and one who is sober enough to understand his position is a Dhira. Without becoming sober or heroic, one cannot attain spiritual salvation. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नम ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं। हरिः ओम तत्सत्। Translation once again. Having undergone austerities and penances at Kapilashrama, King Prachina Barhi attained full liberation from all material designations. He constantly engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord and attained a spiritual position qualitatively equal to that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, we are towards the end of the talks between Narada and King Prachin Barhi. And in this chapter, we have seen how uplifting was the talk of Narad Muni for King Prachina Barhi. Narad Muni covered various angles. He tried to explain to Maharaj Prachina Barhi that the subtle body is the cause of transmigration of the soul, and how subtle body is attached to the material conception of life, because of which it is forced to take birth time and again. Narad Muni gives the example of a caterpillar. Just like a caterpillar moving from one leaf to another leaf holds on to the previous leaf while moving on to the next leaf. So similarly, a living entity destined to take another birth holds on very tightly to the material conception of life of the previous existence. So because of that, he has to take birth again and again. Then Narad Muni covers the concept of dreams, explained the functioning of the mind in full detail. He said how mind is very expert with combinations. Mind will see something at some place, something else at some other place, and combine these two things to produce a unique vision which will bewilder the living entity. And how the mind is unpredictable. And ultimately, Narad Muni concluded that the only solution to this pathetic situation of life, where a living entity's subtle body is filled up with only Krishna knows what kind of contamination, even the living entity doesn't know. In such a situation, the only solution out of this very, very pathetic situation is the loving service unto the lotus feet of devotional service, unalloyed devotional service unto the lotus feet of Krishna under the direct supervision of Guru. So, the effect of these instructions were so strong, Narad Muni was so influential in this discussion that immediately after this discussion we see that Maharaj Prachina Barhi, who was basically a Puranjan, he gives up his attachment to his kingdom, he gives up his attachment to his sacrifices, he gives up his attachment to performance of ritualistic activities, and immediately leaves orders with his ministers that when my sons come, ask them to protect the citizens. And then even before the sons come, he leaves. So this is the mercy of Guru. Ideally a father should stay back to hand over the kingdom, to get his sons married, and in that way there were so many other responsibilities which he had. But by the mercy of the spiritual master, but by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, one completely transcends all obligations and takes to the ultimate goal of life. This reminds me of a very nice example of, in the Chaitanya Leela, the example of Digvijay Pandit, Keshav Kashmiri. He would go to every village with a lot of pomp and procession. There used to be some elephants moving behind him, some horses, some servants, some very nice paraphernalia, and he used to be dressed very royally that yes, I am the Digvijay Pandit. Wherever I have gone, I have not been defeated till now. And then Lord Chaitanya encounters him and delivers him. We all know how he was delivered. At the bank of Ganges. Ganges emanates from the lotus feet of Krishna, and devotee's whole attention is at the lotus feet of Krishna. So both have the same effect. Association with Ganges will ultimately have a very, very nice devotional effect. But even faster than that, if we want to have a very quick result of association with the lotus feet of the Lord, one has to associate with the devotees of the Lord. So therefore, association with the devotees of the Lord is like having many, many times bath in the river Ganges. So Lord Chaitanya, who was in the mood of a scholar at that time, defeated him in a very nice way, without hurting his ego, at the same time making him realize his true constitutional position. And then he got some help from the demigods such as Mother Saraswati, and he was able to surrender unto the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. And then the first thing which he did was, he gave up all his elephants, he gave up all his paraphernalia, he gave up all his royal insignia, all the royal umbrellas, money, everything, and he became a wandering mendicant. Such is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. It can make anybody from a Puranjan to a sannyasi. So a similar effect we see here. One who is carrying Lord Chaitanya in his heart has the same potency as Lord Chaitanya by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Narad Muni has Lord Chaitanya or Lord Krishna in his heart all the time. So when he is delivering the message about Krishna to Prachina Barhi, same result comes. Just after one conversation for so many years, thousands of years, Prachina Barhishat was engaged in fruitive activities. We cannot even imagine the kind of practice which he would have got, or the kind of inclinations and the urges which he would have got because of that long practice. But that strong attachment, that strong mental condition was immediately improved, broken, or basically uplifted simply by the association of a pure devotee of the Lord. So therefore, no matter how advanced we are, no matter how good we are at our own practice of our own sadhana, no matter how good we are at rendering service to the devotees, if we do not value for and beg for the association of the selfless devotees of the Lord, it is just a matter of time that we will fall down. And irrespective of how fallen we are, how degraded we are, doesn't even matter if we are fully in the grips of Maya, Gunamayi, completely tied by the ropes. Simply, if we have little bit of faith in the power of devotee association, and if we associate with the devotees of the Lord in a desire to serve them, then it is just a matter of time that we will become spiritually elevated. So that has become very much evident. So the theme of this verse can be perfection of Maharaj Prachina Barhi. And the reason for that perfection was simply submissive oral reception to Narad Muni. There is no other reason for that. And of course, mercy of Narad Muni. Narad Muni went out of his way to help. We see in this conversation, many times Prachina Barhi was telling, kal karenge, kal karenge. He was procrastinating. But Guru breaks the procrastination habit of the disciple also. So, and then what does Maharaj Prachina Barhi should do? He immediately leaves everything. He understands that Krishna is the maintainer, Krishna is the proprietor, and he will maintain his children also. And he leaves for this place called Kapilashram. So Kapilashram is near the point where the Ganges meets the Bay of Bengal. Very recently we were very close to Kapilashram. And Kapilashram is a very, very nice place, very, very spiritually potent place, because Lord Kapila is there performing austerities in this holy land of Bharatvarsha for the spiritual well-being of all the living entities. And that is the mood of Lord Kapila. So going to Kapila Ashrama means associating with Lord Kapila only, because that's why that place is called Kapila Ashrama. And there, undergoing austerities and penances at Kapila Ashrama, King Prachina Barhi attained full liberation from all material designations. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uttama. So he started performing Uttama Bhakti. He constantly engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord and attained spiritual position qualitatively equal to that of the Lord, that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here Prabhupada in the purport takes in the opportunity to describe what is qualitative and what is quantitative. The king attained the position of possessing the same status or the same form as that of the Lord. This definitely proves that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always a person. Now these Mayavadis, they always say that the Supreme Energy is impersonal. It's an energy, it's not a person. And these Mayavadis are the followers of Shankaracharya, and mostly these Mayavadis are worshippers of Lord Shiva also. And that's how this Mayavadi philosophy comes, gets its root. But interestingly, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Shiva himself is saying that Lord Krishna has a form. And we read in the chapter of Rudra Gita, where Lord Shiva was talking to the Prachetas, where Lord Shiva starts describing the beautiful form of the Lord in full detail. So let's read a few verses from there. All the Mayavadis should also understand they are meditating on the impersonal form, but the source of their philosophy, Lord Shiva, is meditating on a personal form. Many people say man has imagined God. When I was in college, one of my friends was always in this favor, that man is so imaginative that he has imagined God also. And I used to follow him at that time. And I could not understand the truth. But now, because of the association of devotees, I'm able to understand. A person may say that, okay, I have not seen God, how do I know? But definitely we all know that Lord Shiva has seen God. And Lord Shiva is saying, the Lord's beauty resembles a dark cloud during the rainy season. As the rainfall glistens, his bodily feature also glisten. Indeed, he is the sum total of all beauty. The Lord has 4 arms and an exquisitely beautiful face, with eyes like lotus petals, a beautiful, highly raised nose, a mind-attracting smile, a beautiful forehead, and equally beautiful and fully decorated ears. This doesn't look like impersonal. Lord Shiva is meditating, he is a devotee of Sankarshana, Lord Shiva. So he meditates on the Sankarshan 4-handed form of the Lord. And this is completely a personal form. And then we can also spend time trying to think more about it, like how a raindrop, when the sunlight falls on it, it glistens, it shines, it looks very beautiful. So the entire body of the Lord shines. And he is the sum total of all beauty, and so many other things which he has said. Verse after verse we see, like some 15 verses. The Lord is super excellently beautiful on the account of his open and merciful smile and his sidelong glance upon his devotees. His black hair is curly. See, so much detail is there. Lord has curly hair. If somebody says I am the Lord and if he doesn't have curly hair, we have to check. So the Lord, his black hair is curly. His garments waving in the wind appear like flying saffron pollen from the lotus flowers. So imagine a scene where there is a lotus flower, wind is going, and the wind is carrying some pollen grains in the air. It looks so beautiful. Similarly, when the Lord is standing, his dhoti is fluttering, and it looks like that. How until unless a person sees, he cannot describe with so much detail. You go to the books which are written by these fiction books which are written by the authors. Let's take an example, this book called Harry Potter. Fully an imagination. But the author says that her imagination has taken seed from her experiences which she had in her school life. She saw those kind of characters in her classes. So every imagination is not completely imaginative. Somewhere it has to take some seed from. So even if we claim that, okay, Lord Shiva is drunk now and he is simply imagining, but he cannot simply imagine. Somewhere that seed has to be there. So that seed is Krishna. And so much detail is coming, that means there has to be some value in it. And interestingly, wherever the Lord is described, all the descriptions match with each other. There is no place where we see that the Lord is described in some way and here he is described in a different way. Of course, different incarnations are looking different. But this Vishnu form of the Lord is described in the same way everywhere. His glittering earrings, shining helmet, bangles, garland, ankle belts, waist belt, and other various bodily ornaments combined with the conch shell disc, club, lotus flower to increase the natural beauty of the Kaustubha pearl on his chest. Then the Lord has shoulders just like a lion. Upon these shoulders are garlands, necklace, epaulets, and these are always glittering. Besides, there is the beauty of the Kaustubh Mani pearl, and on the dark chest of the Lord there are streaks named Shrivatsa, which are the signs of the goddess of fortune. The glittering of these streaks excels the beauty of the gold testing stone. Indeed, such beauty defeats a gold testing stone. How many of you know a gold testing stone? So, in Delhi, I think in the tomb of Humayun, there is around 500 kg gold testing stone, black in color. So if you have any golden ornament and if you rub on it, it's a process by which you can test how much carat is your gold. These kind of stones are very rare. So when you rub the gold on it, the stone looks very beautiful with black color of the stone with streaks of gold on it. You can realize that, okay, here the gold was rubbed. This was good quality gold, this was bad quality gold. So it seems the chest of the Lord, which is darkish, has this Shrivatsa 2-3 golden hair. It excels the beauty of that gold testing stone also. So it is clearly Lord Shiva is giving us full details, and Prabhupada is also telling in this purport that the Lord is completely always a person. And time and again in the Bhagavatam, this is again and again proved. In his impersonal reading further, in his impersonal feature, he is the rays of the transcendental body. And when a living entity attains spiritual perfection, he also attains the same type of body known as Satchidananda Vigraha. In the spiritual body is never mixed with the material elements. Very important point which Prabhupada makes here is, in other words, the living entity can be liberated from the material condition at any moment, provided he wishes to do so. So this is the main problem. As a spirit soul, the living entity is always aloof from the material conditions of life. But the problem is that the soul has developed the desire to be amidst this material condition of life. And this desire is the problem. The more one wants to enjoy the material nature, the more he is tested or beaten up by Maya. The degree to which one wants to enjoy the material nature, to that degree he will be pestered by Maya, or rather kicked by Maya. So therefore, this verse is very appropriate. Daivi hi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. The main problem is that mam eva ye prapadyante we don't want. At least I don't want to do. I am still having some hopes that other than this process of Krishna consciousness, there is something else also which can give me happiness. So until we have this hope, we have to remain in this material world. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Surrender unto Krishna, that means we have to understand that there is nothing worth doing, serving, meditating upon other than Krishna. There is this very nice verse, aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. So those who understand this, that Krishna is the source of everything, iti matva, what they will do? Bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha, with all their hearts and all their energy, and they will not have time for doing anything else. And if a sadhaka is having time for doing something else, that means he has not realized aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. So therefore, this realization can be only given by Krishna. No one can pick up a Bhagavad Gita, sleep on his sofa with some snacks in his hand and understand aham sarvasya prabhavo. This understanding that Krishna is the source of all material and spiritual worlds is possible only by the mercy of the pure devotees of Krishna. So therefore, one has to try to serve them in a submissive oral reception way, by hearing them, by following their instructions. Then one will develop love for Krishna. So Prabhupada is telling, in the material state, the living entity is on the Jiva Bhuta platform. Jiva Bhut Mahabaho Yayade Dharite Jagat. So the living entity is exploiting the resources of material nature. But when he renders devotional service to the Lord, he is elevated to the Brahma Bhuta platform. Na shochati na kankshati. Samaha sarveshu bhuteshu. He starts seeing everybody as part and parcel of Krishna. And then comes out of this material hankering and material lamentation, hankering for that which he does not have and lamentation for that which he has lost. And therefore he easily comes out of the material bondage and he engages in the service of the Lord. Iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. So only a hero can do this. Only a dhira or a sober person or only a veera or a hero can surrender unto Krishna. And one becomes a hero in the association of other heroes only. You cannot just sit somewhere and become a hero. You have to serve other heroes. When I say hero, I mean pure devotees. So, and the characteristics of heroes are very attractive. Today's calendar quote of Prabhupada is that Krishna controls everybody, but the devotee of Krishna is so exalted that Krishna says, I want to be controlled by him. Here is a hero. This devotee of the Lord, the pure devotee of the Lord, Dhira, Veera, he is so attractive even to the mind of Krishna that even Krishna wants to spend time with him. And Krishna uses such devotees to set example for the human society also. Yesterday was the disappearance day of Madhavendra Puri. So Madhavendra Puri is one of the all-time heroes. He was very nicely worshipping the Gopalji deity on the Govardhan hill. But then all of a sudden the deity said, I want this sandalwood from Ramana. And that kind of sandalwood, so that the deity is very tall deity. So that much sandalwood, if we have to get, it is a huge effort. Madhavendra Puri already had initiated the local Brahmanas into Vaishnavism, and he had many followers. He could have just told to somebody, the Lord wants this sandalwood from Ramana, go and get it, first priority. But he didn't do that, he did it on his own. This shows his attachment to the Lord. One of the characteristics of a hero or a pure devotee is that he always relishes doing devotional service to the Lord. And then when he sees himself fully engaged, then he takes the opportunity to engage others also in the devotional service of the Lord. But a mundane manager, what he does, he himself is not fully engaged, but he wants to engage everybody else in his service in the name of some company or something. So this is the difference. Madhavendra Puri could have easily told someone else that go and get this for the Lord, but because the Lord personally instructed him, he personally took that. He never thought that I am such a great sannyasi and I have so many followers and Gopalji is personally talking to me, Gopalji needs my attention here. He understood. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti. So Krishna gave him intelligence that yes, this should be done by you. So he went all the way, and so much difficulties he faced on the way. And then that very beautiful pastime of Kheer Chor Gopinath happened. Pujari stealing prasad is common. But Krishna stealing prasad for a devotee is very uncommon. So Krishna stole prasad for him. And then Krishna tested Madhavendra Puri at that situation. All the people there in that area started telling you, stay here. You become our leader. You become our guru. Whatever you want, we will give you. You take us home back to Godhead. Now this sounds like a very attractive offer. I am here, everybody is surrendering unto my lotus feet, and everybody is following me. I have come in this world to just instruct everybody, and this is a very nice place where I can instruct everybody. Everybody will respect me also. And look at me, I have become world famous. Krishna has made me world famous. Krishna wants me to become famous, and Krishna has chosen this place for me to reside here and take service. A neophyte will think like this. But Madhavendra Puri, the real hero, the real Veera, Dheera, was not attached to all these things. He was only attached to his service. And when Maya Devi sees that a person is only attached to the service, she cannot touch the consciousness of such a devotee. So therefore Srila Prabhupada would say that I know that Maya, he writes in a letter that I know that Maya cannot touch me. Because such devotees are completely engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, the Maya is looking at them and thinking that I am completely hopeless in front of them. There is no way in which I can encumber them, and plus Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha. This Daivi hi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya is dealing with the modes of material nature. But that Daivi hi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya is dealing with the Mahatmas. That is Srimati Radharani. So the devotees, the Dheeras, Veeras, pure devotees, they are under the direct protection of Srimati Radharani. So Maya cannot do anything to them. And they develop a mood of service like that of Srimati Radharani, in the footsteps of Srimati Radharani also. So Madhavendra Puri passed that test of Krishna by leaving that place immediately and proceeding towards the journey of getting the sandalwood for the Lord. So this is very famous in Chaitanya Charitamrita. They say, Bahu parishrama chandana remuna anila anande badhila mane dukha na ganila. So a devotee, when he is serving the Lord, he goes through many problems, many difficulties, many shortcomings, many spine-breaking tests. But he takes all these difficulties, rather let me say that he discounts all these difficulties because the happiness which he gets, the bliss which he gets while serving Krishna far overpowers these difficulties for him. So for a devotee of the Lord, taking difficulties in the service of Krishna is the highest bliss. Dukkha na ganila mane ananda badhila. And the best person who can do service for Krishna without even a single blemish is Srimati Radharani. So therefore, the neophytes like me should always pray to Srimati Radharani that there is no hope for me. The Maya Shakti of the Lord is very strong, and Mam eva ye prapadyante, I don't want to do also. This is the reality. So you please help me. I need some protection here. I need some protection to realize what is my eternal nature. Right now I am so much agitated, so much bombarded by these desires. I am a kama kami. I am just running to satisfy all my desires moment after moment. I need a break. I need some time to feel the healing touch of Krishna. I need some protection from the bombardment of this Maya. Only then I can realize my eternal position as a servant of Krishna. Just like when we take prasadam, it calms our senses. And with those calm senses, under the direction of the spiritual master, it is possible to render service to Krishna. That is the importance of prasadam. So without prasadam, we cannot practice Krishna consciousness. So similarly, we need some special protection to continue our services in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, one darshan of Maya and everything is finished. So I have to pray to Srimati Radharani. I am not qualified to be on the Brahma Bhuta stage. I am definitely a Jiva Bhuta stage. And my struggle against Maya is not in a dhira way. Dhira means one who knows his actual position. So my actual position is that I cannot fight with Maya. So such kind of realizations and such kind of advancement or spiritual salvation is only possible by being under the protection of the divine energy of the Lord, that is Srimati Radharani, and meditating on the pastimes of others who were protected by Radharani, such as Madhavendra Puri, Ishwar Puri, Ramanand Rai and others. And when one does that, then the result is very sweet. They attain the same spiritual position which is qualitatively equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means they attain a body, or they attain a kind of existence in which they can associate with Krishna face to face. Srila Prabhupada would say that Krishna is a person. Just like you are sitting with me and talking with me, you can sit with Krishna, talk with Krishna, eat with Krishna, dance with Krishna and play with Krishna. But Krita Punya Punyat. Krita Punya Punyat. You have to have a lot of spiritual piety for that. And Maya is always ready to loot away the spiritual piety. I mean, she cannot loot away. The spiritual piety is always fixed, constant. But yeah, she can always extend our stay in the material world. She can always make many diversions and distractions. So one has to pray. Otherwise, this desire of Mam eva ye prapadyante is very difficult for a jiva which is bahirmukh from anadikal. So these are some of my thoughts on this verse. I would like to conclude my discussion. If there are any questions or comments, they are welcome.
This is a very nice point, that irrespective of our practice, if we don't hanker for association of devotees, we will definitely fall. And also, submissive oral reception is the cause of King Prachinabhari's perfection. So that was also very nice. So I become more submissive in hearing, and um, the living entity is always aloof from matter, and he just need to desire to get liberated from here, and the Lord will provide for it. And Mam Evaya Prapadyante, exclusively taking shelter of the Lord. And also, like that shloka from Chaitanya Charitamrita was very nice, that how much our spine breaking problems are there, if we are able to derive some pleasure in our devotional service, or some taste in our devotional service, so that will keep us on. So, like just yesterday, I was having a talk with Vardhakrishna Prabhu regarding one devotee who left us and things like that. He had very valuable service, but because his practice, he was not very deep in his practice. So one's way of Maya, he could just be washed off. So we were feeling very bad and discussing about that. So I could able to relate with this, that when difficulties come, only people who have deep realizations actually stay back. So others will get washed off. So it's a very nice point that you made. Thank you very much for this.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So many wonderful points in this wonderful lecture. One of them I would like to repeat. So it doesn't matter how fallen we are, it doesn't matter how contaminated we are. If we are in the association of devotees, the power of association is so great that eventually we will attain perfection. That was very, very motivating. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhuji. So out of the whole class, so as devotees has repeated the same point, I want to repeat. The association of the devotees are very important. And how in the verse also it is mentioned, just by following the instructions of spiritual master. So the one who is carrying Lord all the time in their heart, and just by following their instructions, and how the lives get transformed, even they didn't wait for the sons to return back to give the instructions or give responsibility, just left the kingdom and went to the Kapila ashram and started practicing that intense devotional service. And just by association of devotees, we can also become intensified. So like staying alone and practicing bhakti will not stay for the long, because there's a chance where we may go in a wrong direction and we think that I am doing right, and no one is there to correct us. And when we are there with the devotee association, so there is the where play devotees will guide us when we are going in the wrong way. So there is a very important importance of having the devotees association. And in this way, we are very fortunate, we are having very nice devotees association. And when I was there in my spiritual master's service, when I met Krishnanand Prabhu, he came, he was there. Then I said, Prabhuji, please bless me that I should serve nicely. Then he added one more point. It's like, no, I have my full blessings, but I want to add it, you want to progress also. Not that you continuously serve, but you have to progress also. So when we are there with the devotee association, there is a chance where we can progress also. So that can happen in devotees association. When we are alone, when we are doing our own bhajan, we don't know how much progress we have done. No one is there to say, no one is there to guide. So that is what, we are very fortunate. Srila Prabhupada has given this, ISKCON where whole world can stay and practice and progress nicely.
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्णा।